This victory here is the beginning of the end for Donald Trump.
U.S. Senator Bernie Sanders wins big in New Hampshire as Democratic voters begin the process of selecting a presidential candidate. Hello, I'm Anand Naidu in Washington, D.C., and this is The Heat. After celebrating his win in New Hampshire, Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders and the Democratic field are turning their attention to Nevada and South Carolina. On Tuesday, Sanders edged out former South Bend, Indiana Mayor Pete Buttigieg in the New Hampshire primary, and there was more disappointment for former U.S. Vice President Joe Biden, who finished in 5th place. We begin with this report from CGTN's Jim Spellman.
After Iowa and now New Hampshire, two Democratic frontrunners have emerged to potentially take on Donald Trump, Bernie Sanders and Pete Buttigieg. Sanders, a senator from Vermont and self-described Democratic socialist, narrowly won New Hampshire. He promises radical change, including nationalized health care.
And this is a movement from coast to coast, which is demanding that we finally have an economy and a government that works for all of us, not wealthy campaign contributors.
38-year-old Pete Buttigieg is the former mayor of South Bend, Indiana. He is a moderate who surprised many with a strong showing in Iowa and lost to Sanders in New Hampshire by less than 2 percentage points.
To win and to govern, we need to bring new voices to our capital. We need to get Washington starting to work more like our best-run cities and towns rather than the other way around.
Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar, another moderate, came in a solid 3rd. It was a tough night for former Vice President Joe Biden. For months, he was seen as a front-runner, but came in 5th in New Hampshire after a 4th-place showing in Iowa. Senator Elizabeth Warren also struggled as Bernie Sanders has become the clear leader of the party's more progressive wing. Former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg, a multi-billionaire, wasn't on the ballot in New Hampshire, but he's throwing a lot of money at this race and hopes for a big showing on so-called Super Tuesday, March 3rd, when more than a dozen states go to the polls. Democrats don't agree on a candidate yet, but they do largely agree on one thing.
I'm really just looking for someone to have the momentum the energy to go up against Trump.
Next up, the Nevada caucus a week from Saturday. That's the first race with a sizable Latino population. Then it's off to South Carolina, the first state with a large African-American population. Jim Spellman, CGTN, Washington.